While everyone is hoarding their toilet paper, I'm finding the truth in the sci-fi RPG Deus Ex, which was created by Illuminati agents who decided to turn on their employer and release their plans for the future in the form of a cyberpunk RPG. Many ignored their warnings. How ignorant we were then. You play as Jesus Christ on New Game++, going under the name JC Denton, who is hired by a new terrorist fighting organization called UNATCO to stop a group of terrorists from giving poor people a vaccine to a disease that is spreading throughout humanity, because the US doesn't have enough money for poor people to be healthy. So you obey your orders to shoot, stab, stalk, and otherwise kill anyone you deem to be a threat to the United States government. In Deus Ex, you will realize your dream to live in Frankston, stabbing people in alleyways and not having enough money to fuel your heroin addiction, resulting in your aim looking like you're holding a sniper rifle with one hand. But with the proper training, time, and weapon upgrades, you can snipe dudes with a Glock from half a fucking mile away and cut poor people in half with a Chinese knockoff lightsaber. While games like Call of Duty will quickly adjust the aim of your gun, Deus Ex decides that that shit's for babies and makes it so that aiming takes 1,000 actual years for a shot to be accurate. You can level up in weapon classes to better your aim with those weapons, but early on you won't be using guns often, and if you do, it will be from way out of view as you need to wait for the withdrawals to wear off. This makes stealth the optimal way to go, as running in guns blazing is an easy way to get your head blown clean off. When using melee weapons, where you hit will matter. If you want to give your opponent a mild cut, go for the arms or legs. If you want to do some real damage, go for the head, or better yet, the bottom of the spinal cord. You won't kill them, but they will be paralyzed from the waist down, and they will wish they were dead. You can also dodge incoming bullets by terrifying some 20-something-year-old Marxist by bunny hopping directly towards him with a knife. When you reach him, stand so close to him that he has no room to raise his gun, then whisper in his ear about how great of a democracy America has as you slit his throat multiple times before he dies. Deus Ex is very level-based, usually with a single objective on a single continuous map. In such varied locations such as New York, China's rebellious brother, in Area 51. If you explore, you can find optional objectives and additional methods of completing your main objective. For example, you may be tasked with infiltrating a warehouse. You will initially be told that you can walk through the front door, but if you take the time to talk to people and scout, you may find a way in through the sewers. Deus Ex gets its depth from the sheer amount of options at the player's disposal. You have lockpicks, multi-tools, an array of weaponry and stealth, all of which can be used to reach your objective in different ways. There's one point where you have to find a sword which is believed to be in the possession of the local bicycle. The entire way to her I was being warned she's deceptive, and I cannot trust what she says. When I reached her, she told me to just go down to the police station and get something for me. Wanting to see what would happen, I chucked a lamb at her, to which she responded by slowly walking away. She gets blown to smithereens and a host of guards come out of the wall. I threw a gas grenade and caught every single one of them in it, so I gunned them all down and entered the room they poured out of, found the sword, and continued on with the game. Most games wouldn't let you get that far. There'd be so many guards, it'd be impossible to fight them all, or she'd be so buff that she couldn't have died to the lamb, or she'd be surrounded by turrets, making it impossible to escape when the alarms start blazing. There's always another way of doing something, and it's up to you to find the best way for how you play. There is, of course, a certain level of knowledge required, since levels can be expansive, containing multiple loading screens, dozens of people you can talk to. A large portion of my time with this game was spent mindlessly wandering, trying to find where I'm supposed to go. However, wandering the levels aimlessly can cause you to run into additional content or alternative routes without you realizing. You do want to explore the levels for the equipment that you can find, because resources like ammo and health kits only get rarer. I played and finished the Square Enix Deus Ex games before playing this one, which made me a beta cuck who tried to exercise meaningless concepts like morality, mercy, restraint, and being the better man. Whether you kill or knock someone out has no effect on the story. Story elements won't be locked off because people think you're a horrible person for gunning down an entire bar. The most Deus Ex does to reprimand the player for their actions is characters mentioning your rampage downtown and maybe not giving you bonus cash or items. None of which is worth more than the hilarity of gunning a kid down and tossing his bullet-ridden corpse into the ocean, flashing your UNATCO badge at witnesses. I originally tried knocking people out at every moment, however I realized how much of a bitch I was being and embraced the 200 IQ combat of Deus Ex, which was followed by killing the entire level's guards with a single lamb. Don't bother knocking people out. Gun them down and embrace the bomb. Stealth in Deus Ex is the recommended way to go. Levels can be filled with enemies that can destroy you if you're together, which can be easily done if someone reaches the alarm, and healing damage taken isn't a very efficient process. Where in most games, and in the sequels, damage is only a single health bar. In Deus Ex, your damage is tracked for each body part, with a fallout-like effect for each body part taking too much damage. If one of your legs reaches 0 hit points, your speed decreases unless both your legs are at 0, at which point you will be permanently crawling. Your arms and head affect your aim, and if your chest reaches 0 hit points, you just straight up die. To heal body parts, you can use a med kit to restore hit points dictated by your level in medicine in a healing menu, or you can just use a med pack normally to heal all body parts altogether. This is for when you don't know about the menu, because it is a waste of your med pack. You can eat food and drink orange soda to restore small amounts of health on each body part. These are more common than med packs, but are also almost useless because 5 hit points aren't going to be the difference between life or death, when a sniper can 2-shot you at the very least. You can find medical bots that will usually heal all body parts to full, but these are rarer than med packs. I found the health regeneration augmentation to be invaluable to keeping my health up, at the cost of barely being able to use other augmentations as I had no energy to use them with. You're going to be spending a lot of your time injured since healing is such an ordeal, which is why it's preferable not to be in a shootout, instead taking people down quickly and quietly. You can also embrace your inner bogan and smoke 10 packs of cigarettes in 3 seconds when you realize that your whole life has been a lie. Deus Ex has a weird history after the first game. The sequels, the sequel, were made for consoles and were dumpster fires compared to the original. After the completely unrelated game Project Snowblind released, Deus Ex was unofficially dead. Ironstorm, the company that made Deus Ex, shut down. Deus Ex was grabbed by Square Enix. 2011, 8 years after the last Deus Ex game was released, Deus Ex Human Revolution was released to glowing reviews to both old and soon-to-be fans of Deus Ex. The last Deus Ex game was Mankind Divided. Currently, there has been no news of a new Deus Ex game, which is a bitch because it ended on a fucking cliffhanger. However, Eidos seem to be managing Deus Ex well, wanting to handle the IP respectfully. It's obviously understand that they can't shit out sequels like someone else did. Deus Ex is a near perfect game. If you're not a fan of the old graphics, there are community remakes that update the graphics and environments, such as Deus Ex Revision. There's really no excuse to try Deus Ex. It's a piece of gaming history, is one of the best RPGs for a reason. Cheap on Steam and GOG, and goes on sale occasionally. If you're a fan of the more recent Deus Ex games, you have to try this. It requires a very specific mindset, but the core gameplay is so satisfying and entertaining. The only gripes I have with the game are made redundant due to the pure enjoyment I have in the many great parts of this game.